Good morning and welcome to our second session. We're going to be focusing on introductions to Python, but my main interest is for us to look at Python programming using Django, because it is always important that we also introduce the basics of how we can deal with the different data types in programming. But I think we will talk about the list tuple, boolean, and all the other data types, dictionary, as we keep moving on. In my previous, most recent questions that I asked learners, they told me that it is important. I just don't waste a lot of time on those very basics of introduction to programming. But I highly recommend that during your free time, you should learn how to work with Python syntax and comments. For this particular training, we're going to be focusing mainly on Python as a programming language, and we're going to be focusing on first, we're going to understand what Python is, and then we'll later move and then see how we can set up the development environment on our computers. I am actually using Linux, Ubuntu, but you can use any operating system of your choice, which we can be able to go through. I don't have slide decks prepared for you to be following the slides, but I request you to listen attentively for the first 4 minutes, then we will go hands-on. Okay, so we're going to set up the development environment, but we need to have the introductions to Python programming using Django. And of course, one of the most popular languages that are coming up is actually Python is the most popular programming language, but Django is just a framework. Now, let me talk about Python briefly. Now, we all know that Python is a high-level interpreted programming language for its simplicity and readability. Why do we talk about it being very simple in terms of readability? Because the syntax are written in an English-like format. Because there are several ways how you can write Python script using the cases. We have what they call the camel case, the snake case. And of course, all these cases makes it easier to write your syntax in a more readable form. Now, it supports multiple programming languages. And basically, Python is procedure oriented. That means it's object oriented. And it has the functionality that makes the Python syntax so easy for anyone to understand. I know most of you are you've done a little bit of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and also Java programming, for those ones from the computer science class. Now, I want to tell you that even with no coding skills, you're going to be a great programmer if you follow these steps. Programming is actually very simple. Everyone should learn how to program a computer. Now, I think there are some messages in the chat. Maybe I could check them if they're there. But if they're not there, then we can you can say proceed. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Victoria, Vicky is saying that, pardon, sir, I lost you in the previous minutes. Yeah, what I'm saying is that we're looking at introduction to Python programming. We need first to have the background. And of course, I'm saying that Python is a high-level interpreted programming language known for its simplicity and readability. It supports multiple programming paradigms and includes procedure, which is basically it's object-oriented. And it has functionalities and has the functional programming. Python syntax basically are designed to be easier for us to understand, making it an excellent choice for beginners and even experienced developers. Now, I understand that we're not going to be doing a lot of theory. We're going to do more of practical. But this theory builds your understanding. When someone asks you, what is Python? Python is a high-level programming language, interpreted programming language, known for its simplicity and readability of its source code. Now, why are we going to look at Django? Now, you know what Python is. Later, I'm going to open my VS Code and we get started. Now, why Django? Now, Django is not a programming language, but Python is a programming language. Now, Django is a framework. The programming language is Python. The framework is Django. The D is silent. Now, Django is a high-level web framework that encourages rapid development and clean, pragmatic design. If you want to have a very good design of managing your script or your Python script, then you use Django. It builds very good applications because our users can navigate between the views, modules, URL settings, and even the migrations of the database. For light applications, you can use my SQLite, which is one of the good database that you can implement. And now, one thing that I want you to understand, it's much easier to build applications quickly with minimal codes because Django makes it easier to take care of the developers' challenges. One of them is security, because we know very well that if you want to beat any deadline and build an application in 1 or 2 months, Django is the best framework to use, the best web framework, because you will use Python as a programming language, which also helps you to use the CSS and HTML, which is very easier, and you can deploy your application anywhere. So one of the big issues that most developers faces is that if I build an application, will it be hacked? Now, the security, it's taken care of when you use Django, because Django provides built-in security features for protecting you from these common vulnerabilities like SQL injections. Injection is when people add records in your database. Now, even the cross-site scripting, okay? If you keep like forgetting the site request, or someone try to do a forgery for a site request, Django takes care of that security. Now, scalability, because sometimes you can have high traffic, you can have very many people who are visiting your website. or your application, Django is designed to handle high traffic requests because Django architecture supports scalability of application. And that's why Django is the best option for you to pick as a web framework. Now, another thing is that we have what we call object relational mapping, because we are going to deal with other mappings of the SQL queries. Django has the ability to simplify database interaction, allowing developers to work with data as Python objects rather than SQL queries. So the benefit is that you will work with data as Python objects rather than SQL queries. And that's why it's object relational mapping. So, and of course, they have a lot of built-in features. That is one of the good things, because the built-in features, like the admin interface, you don't need to struggle so much building the admin interface. Authentication, verify users, you're collecting users' data. Every user who is going to use your system, you should know. That's why you need to deal with know your client. And of course, handling forms, how to deal with forms, and saves developers a ton of time. Now, we are now going to move to setting up the development environment. Now, the most common things that I want you to do is that if you're going to set up Python on your computer, you need to have Python, you need to have pip. For today, I am just going to make sure that you install all the required dependencies on your computer. The installations may be very different, but I want to ask you one question. Do you want us to do the installations physically, or I can tell you what to install and try to install them? Or we can do it online, because we are using different operating systems. Because if you cannot have the development environment, that means you cannot follow this training or this mentorship. Can I hear from you?
Yes, sir. This is Jamja speaking.
Yes.
I suggest that you tell us what to do so that we can install those programs. I'm sure everyone knows how to install these programs. Like, to save time, not to be on one thing that is going to take much of the time.
All right. Now, because I want you to follow along with me, now you have agreed that I can just only focus on giving you what you need to install. All right, that should be better, so that you can try it today. So that next time when you come when our applications are installed with. Okay, so okay. All right. Now, the things that I need you to install, I hope you are able to see my screen. Now, one thing I need you to do is to go to this website, python.org, because the most important thing that I need you to do is to try as much as possible to download Python. So you can come to python.org and press enter. Are we together? Another beauty is that once you come to this website, python.org, you're going to install Python on your computer. Some of you are using Windows. And of course, since you're using Windows, our syntax are not going to be the same, okay? But now you're going to go to downloads. Then what is the current version of Python? It is Python 3.12.4. Make sure you use the latest Python. And you click on what? Download. Now, once you click on download, I don't know, okay, it's about 19 MBs. Now, I want to ask you, are there people who are using Linux operating system? Because now you can just install directly Python on your computer. Me, I'm not going to install it because I already have Python installed on my computer. I can just go and double check with you here that I already have Python installed on my computer. Now, what you could see is that I can just do Python version in the terminal and press enter. Python 3 version. So you can see the kind of version that I have on my computer is that, now I'm going to explain this to you. When you're using Linux Ubuntu, my latest Ubuntu is Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. This is the default Python that comes with when you install Ubuntu or Linux. But of course, you could change it. I also have Python. You could see my environment in terms of my interpreter. I have Python. I could change it here. Okay. Now, when I do this, I think I should, okay, it's okay. But you could change the version of the Python that you have. Now, me, because I don't want to interfere with the Python I have on my computer, that's why I installed the latest version of Python. Now, make sure you install Python on your computer. Another thing that you need to do, please try as much as possible to also install VS Code. Okay? Try as much as possible to install what? VS Code. That's going to be your code editor. Are we together? This is step 1. Then step 2, install VS Code. This is our code editor. Just install that. Then, after that, please install pip. And for you to install pip, I don't know how to do it in Windows, but in Linux, you could use just say pip install No. I think the Python package installer, it normally comes with other dependencies. But make sure you have pip installed on your machine. Okay? Make sure you have pip installed on your machine. So then there's one thing that I also want to tell you is that after installing your VS Code, okay? After installing your VS Code, make sure you come to these extensions. Install extensions. Now the extensions are going to be let me give you the extensions that I need you to have. I need you to install pretty formatter. Pretty formatter. I think it's here. It's called prettier code formatter. Yeah, you just click on it and install. Then I need you to install Python extension by Microsoft. So make sure you install the version. It's about, people have downloaded it like 130 million times. So install extensions, install Python in the extension so that it takes care of the libraries. And then also Python debugger, I believe it also comes there. Could also put Python debugger. Sometimes you can run into errors, so you need a debugger for debugging your code. And then you also need to install tab 9. Install tab 9. Install tab 9. In the extension, I could just check and see what is. I think I have about 12 of them. And then also install GitHub. And make sure you have a GitHub account. Install GitHub. Okay, you could also install Jupyter. Install Jupyter because you might need to do some modules. Jupyter Notebook. And then install this Pylance. It's a very important thing, library for us. Okay. I would have said you install Copilot, but Copilot is for paying. Copilot is for paying. So I would not I will not just tell you to have it installed, but if there are free ones there, you could install the free ones. Now, the difference is that Copilot helps you to write your code much faster. All right. So these are the things that I need you to try to install them on your machine. Are we together? I recommend you could try to use try also to use ChatGPT and also try to use Gemini to help you with just come here. As a developer, I don't need to be a little bit mean. Just come to Gemini AI. This would help you a lot. We used to use Stack Overflow in the past. For assistance, please use that and ChatGPT. For any assistance, please try to use these two, Gemini and ChatGPT. They should help you very well. And use them all the time, especially to help you. Or you could also use Microsoft Copilot. Yeah. You can use Microsoft Copilot. Yeah, you could use Microsoft Copilot. Yeah. You could use Microsoft Copilot. Yeah, you could use Microsoft Copilot. Or Microsoft Bing. They will help you a lot, especially if you want to set up. I don't know if I can set up Jimmy here, Gemini. It needs to be logged in. I don't know if I don't have anything logged in here. Okay, you could use that. All right, can I give you time now to install that one? Then on Saturday, uh, on Saturday we can set up Django. Then on Saturday, we can set up Django on our machine. All right. So can you do the setup so that now we focus on. Please also go ahead and set up Django on your machine if you can. Hello? Hello, go and set up Django on your machine if you can.
Okay, so
If you cannot, then we will do it on Saturday. Hello.
yes.
Yeah, okay, sir.